Today, I welcome James Lott Jr. to the Positively Living podcast. James is a certified professional organizer and the founder and CEO of the Super Organizer LLC and of JLJ Media. He is a national speaker and teacher and certified life coach. He produces his own content and does work with Maria Menounos' AfterBuzz Media Networks as a producer, creator, director, showrunner, host for over 1,000 hours of TV over the last 5 years. Extra Connections is his interview show on the network. For 5 years running, James has been the only weekly organizing radio show called The SOS Show with James Lott Jr. He has 7 other weekly podcasts and 3 web series. James is also the author of over 20 books and counting, and has 5 albums out. James holds many certifications and a doctorate in divinity. His first organizing book, which we'll talk about today, is Sorted Out Sundays, Small Organizing Tips That Lead to Large Rewards. He is the quintessential Renaissance man with so many accomplishments and a deep, booming voice you could listen to all day long, like if James Earl Jones became an organizer life coach. We've known each other for about 4 years now. We met through the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals and connected as a smiling face for each other in their online groups, which led to supporting each other's businesses and lives. James invited me to be on his podcast in 2019, where we talked about positivity and gratitude. I will link to that episode in the show notes. You'll want to listen to him on the interviewer side because that is what he does day in and day out. Imagine how much fun I had turning the tables on him today. James is a person who likes to affect positive change in the world. And does he ever? In our conversation today, he shares his story of becoming the super organizer, how he did it through positivity, and how he let go of so much stress in the process. When you listen to his podcast, he has the positivity bell that he rings, and you'll hear that in our chat today. We cover the gamut of topics with a focus on decluttering and organizing, as you might expect. From taking that first step to do it, to the mental benefits of it, and the impact of organizing in the context of COVID-19, which we're dealing with as of this recording. We also cover a few of the simple habits that lead us to live better lives from his book, Sorted Out Sundays, Small Organizing Tips That Lead to Large Rewards. Our conversation is a combination of topics you'd expect from 2 organizer/life coaches who lead with gratitude and like to have fun. Speaking of which, you'll want to stay tuned for the rapid wrap-up where you'll find out what song makes James dance every time. I'll share the links in the show notes to the many ways you can find James online. If you search YouTube for JLJ Media, he has many of his links in the About section. There was a phrase that was coming to my mind while we were talking that I couldn't remember the exact words for, so I looked it up, and it's attributed to an African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. You never know how what you do inspires others. This man inspires me so, and I'm thrilled to share his personality, positivity, and wisdom with you today. You're listening to the Positively Living podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Zawrotny, founder of Positively Productive Systems and a coach certified in time and stress management, helping clients make space for what matters most in their lives. Join me each episode and we'll talk about decluttering, stress management, habits, personalized productivity, gratitude, and so much more. I understand the overwhelm of life because I'm a wife, mom to kids and cats, and a former caregiver. I'm here to help you choose what's right for you so you can do less, live more, and breathe easier. Sound good? Let's get to it. Welcome, James Lott Jr. to the Positively Living podcast. I am so excited to talk with you today. You were one of the first people on my list to interview, but what you may not know is that you have inspired me from the start. From the first time I learned about you and I started listening to your Super Organizer Show podcast, I was like, yes, this guy gets it. He's a certified life coach and he's combining the life coaching and the organizing, and he's paying attention to the whole person, and he's bringing gratitude into the picture. Yes, my people. And I just promptly binge listened from the very beginning, and I've been a fan ever since. And that part, so, it was something that I really wanted to do was step into that fully, and also eventually have a podcast. And now here you are. So welcome.
Congratulations!
Thank
I'm
you.
glad Lisa, you are very positive, and you've been on my show, of course.
Mhm.
I reached out to you, had you on my show. No, thank you for those kind words. You never know how you affect people when you do something you love. That's kind of just a major thing. I'm doing this because I love doing it. I got an opportunity, and I'm celebrating, as of this recording, 5 years of the show this week.
Oh, yes. I was going to give you a shout out for that. So congratulations.
So, but it was brought to me that I should do a show, and I chose the style of show for a reason. So it's nice to know people like you respond to it and liked it and like it and inspired you to just do your own. So congratulations, do your thing, girl, do it.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I have described you multiple times as a Renaissance man.
James of all trades.
Right? Books, shows, music recordings, all of which we'll make sure to link in the show notes. So no worries. And of the many things we have in common, I think being multi-passionate is definitely one of them. But
I
I would love for you to describe to us in your own words who you are, who you help, and really what makes you light up.
Wow. All righty. No, okay. So I always tell people I'm a connector. I'm a person who connects people with ideas, thoughts, things, stuff, people, ideas. I mean, I really do feel like I'm a connector first. That's what I do. I'm a content creator. I'm a professional organizer and certified life coach. And all those things to say that I'm a person who likes to affect positive change in the world. That's what I tell
Mm.
people. And that means whatever medium I am working in, whatever job I'm working on, whomever I'm talking to, that is always my goal. That is my brand. And I do it in a way that's plain speak. I don't use gigantic big words. I don't use terminology. I use some terminology and things, depends on the thing, but I like to break everything down to a base level. Not because I think anybody's stupid or anything, not at all, but because people want to hear plain talk. We want to make things really easy to digest and to get. It's like we have other things going on in our worlds that just got us all complicated. This doesn't need to be complicated. So whatever I do, I try to break it down so that everyone understands what's going on, whatever it is I'm doing. And so that's kind of what I do with my music, my spoken word, with my books, with my TV shows, my web series, my podcast, anything that I do, even in my organizing practice, my life coaching practice, it's all about breaking it down. And my saying, small steps lead to large rewards.
And I love that. That resonates so much with me because I'm all about what?
Yep.
Positivity and simplicity. And
Yes.
that's exactly what you're doing. And you're right. We don't have the bandwidth anymore with everything that's going on before everything that's going on now happened. Even before that, we're in this information age, we're in this overwhelm age that's so hard to handle that you need to have things be simple in order to get them done. And that's actually what I love about your latest book. We'll get into that in a minute, but I just wanted to share that we've known each other for how many years now? I've lost count.
Literally, probably almost as long as my show. I met you, I think, shortly after my show online.
Yes.
And we were always a smiling face out there. It's always like that. But I would say at least 4 years, at
Yeah,
least.
I would say so too. And you would bring so much value when you showed up to the groups. And as I already told you, I was so inspired by that. And it was positivity and gratitude. So we'll keep bringing that up. But I'm curious, what led you to do what you do? Like, what's the story behind it? Or was there like a turning point that happened that really brought this about?
Yes. And I love telling a story because it's just again, it's simple.
Good.
I was turning 40 years old, kids. I was turning 40 years old. Oh my gosh, like what's happening in my life? No. And I decided that the way I was living and what I was doing was not serving me anymore. It was just that simple. I used to have a stomach ache, and I would
Mm,
go to work. And I lived in San Francisco, worked for a high-powered association making $200,000 a year in one of the most expensive cities in the country. Had a cute studio, cute condo, had friends, everything was like, but I was not happy. All that, and I was not happy. And I hated the weather in San Francisco. I'm like, it's never sunny in the summertime. What's wrong? But I don't believe in living in that. I believe in you make change. And I thought, and 40 years old is kind of like, I'm 40. I'm turning 40. This is the time. My kids are grown. Everything's happening. I'm like, now's my time to actually go out there and do something for me. And the short story is, I sat down. This is an organizer thing. Sat down, got a pad of paper, and started writing down every job I ever had, and started circling all the things I liked about each job. I didn't go the negative. I went the positive. Lisa, went the positive.
Hello, yes.
Well, I went the positive, Bill. I had the positive. And I marked all the positive things. And I was like, oh, I like filing. Oh, I like setting up systems. Oh, and then I found a book called from Julie Morgenstern, Organizing from the Inside Out.
Mm-hmm.
Turned on by that. And I was like, it's a profession? I could make money off of this? Like, what's going on?
This is a thing?
So I packed up and moved back to LA. After 22 years of being gone, I own the house I live in, and I have a huge giant yard, and the weather's always nice. Right now it's already 77 degrees right now. It's really warm. And I love it. I live near the beach. And I said, I'm going to change my whole life. And that's basically what happened. I started looking into organizing, and I seriously, talk about small steps. I started from scratch, people. I knew no one. I knew nobody. I had no idea how to be an entrepreneur. I started from scratch. And actually, shameless plug 5,652, I have a new book out on being an entrepreneur. It's called Follow Our Leads, How I Became an Entrepreneur. And so me and my friend Caesar talk about this that whole story in depth. So you can actually read the story.
Fantastic. Bonus round. I was excited about Sorted Out Sundays, but now we have an extra one. Okay. Good.
I do 10,000 things. I decided to put it out now because people are like recalibrating their businesses right now.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of rethinking. There's a lot of taking stock going on. This is a great time for that.
It's a great time to do that. So I want to show people this is how we did it. So that's another story. But anyway, back to this thing. But I just did that. And I started from scratch, one client at a time, one person at a time. They told two friends and they told two friends and so on and so on. I thought, commercial, aging myself. And I really did start pushing forward. And then every opportunity that came since then, 11 years I've been doing this stuff, there's another opportunity. I took that, another opportunity. And they led to things, to my empire I have today. So that's kind of like the short story of how it was turning 40 and saying, I'm not going to live in sadness and depression. Now, I want to tell you something. My stomach hurt for like 8 months. When I made the decision to quit that job and move back to LA, I'm telling you, within 5 minutes, my stomach stopped hurting. So trust your gut.
Wow. Yes. Such a good story. Yes. And the thing is, and I've said this before, I've mentioned it many times, even with regard to something like decluttering, deciding, right? Sometimes deciding, that's the toughest part of it. And then everything else from there is the next right thing, right?
Getting started. That's the problem. People get either scared, nervous, they think about all the things that could go wrong. And so then inertia happens. Nothing happens. So you're sitting there going, well, I want to do that. I really want to clean that closet out. I really want to do that. I want to get that room together. I really want to do that. And just all these emotions stop you. You put the barriers up. It stops you. And so you have to kind of find a way to overcome those. And we can help you with that. That's what we do. You can hire one of us. We tell you how to do it. But we're going to help you break down that barrier. And just because once you get started, I always believe that's the window. That's the door. You will be good. Once you get started, you'll be good.
Yep. Taking that first step. I love that. And so that first step that you took, you're like, okay, I want to do this. This is a thing. You can actually help people organize. You just find someone who's like, I need to get organized. And you're like, okay, let me help you as a business. Is that what you did? What did you do?
No, let me tell you. So this is back, 11 years ago. This is 2000. So James Lott Jr. decided to start a business during the recession. Everybody thought it was crazy. That was crazy talk. They're like, what? We have no money. Things are happening. I'm like, I'm going to take my savings and I'm going to start a business. And so what I did back then, Craigslist.
There you go.
And this was the tail end of where newspapers actually had like ads. This is like the tail end of that. It started to shift by them. Social media, there was only Facebook, folks, when I started. MySpace was dying. So I didn't even advertise on Facebook. I didn't even put my business on Facebook. I didn't even do that. So that wasn't even an option. And also word of mouth. I would say the first 3 years of my business, 80%, 85% of it was word of mouth. It's
Mhm.
do a job for someone, they see it and go, who did that? Or do a job for someone, they say, I got two people for you that could use you.
Right.
Girl, hire James Lott Jr. He's good, that kind of thing. And it was really, and also old school. I printed up postcards, which I found the other day. I wish I had them on right now. I found them the other day. I went to Vistaprint, my favorite, printed up these postcards, 500 for like $5 and something like that. And I went to certain neighborhoods in Los Angeles and started passing them out. I went up and down Melrose and Mid-City. I said, where do I want to work? And I started, and the weather's always nice here, good exercise for the legs. And I just kept walking them and I was like, hi, I just want to drop this off. And I got jobs from it. Because there are
Okay.
folks who don't even know what organizing was, being an organizer. I mean, an organizer
That keeps coming back to that's a thing. Yes, it's a thing, and it's a
thing.
it's a thing that people are discovering.
Yes, it's a thing. And I know for me, it was like, people are like organizing. What can you do? And see, and you know this. Our business is huge and vast. We can
Mm.
do so many things. So for me, I was like, well, I can actually do inventory. I did inventory when I did retail and food service. We always do inventory, twice a year. I can do inventory for your shop, say what you have, put a system together. Like, oh, you could do that. Okay. And so I got hired. So my first jobs were inventory jobs, basically taking what they have, reshelving things. I used to be a merchandiser also. People used to call me Rhoda. I used to do window merchandising and stuff. You're like the black male Rhoda. I was like, yeah, I used to do all that. And I could merchandise your store and inventory it and set up a system in your computer, so you can find everything. So I did that. That was one of the first jobs I did. And then the other ones were like churches,
Mhm.
church, and I would help organize events. I would help organize the church offices. I mean, it was like I became like the surrogate son, nephew, cousin, whatever. Oh, let's get James. He'll do it for us. And that's how it started. And literally was person to person to person. Like I did it.
Love it. And so much is in there, so many takeaways. That positivity thing, it always comes back to that. Everything that you asked, and of course this is what you're about, is what can I do? What's possible? What do I love that you designed this by saying what worked for me? What did I love? What inspired me? What lit me up? You know, what just what can I do? I love that. And then the idea of being flexible and saying, okay, well, I could try this and I could try that. And that's a big thing in our industry is exploring which direction we want to go in and saying, okay, that's not really my thing, but this is so my thing. I love this part of it. So when did the life coaching come into play?
Okay, so I just celebrated 6 years as a certified life coach, general life.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So
Okay.
I'm certified in 3 areas:
Hmm.
uh, home organization and professional media organization, and I'm taking my divorce coaching certification right now. Which divorce coaching is recognized by the American Bar Association as a legitimate collaboration with the law, with law offices. So it's a major thing. So I just started that course. I know, James, you do 10,000. How you? I'm like, I love education. I love education. But my first certification came from the Coach Training Alliance. I want to give a shout out to Lori Cameron, who I still talk to, my best teacher on earth and mentor. And that came out of my Aunt Faith told me, she was like, you're kind of coaching people. I was already 5 years into this business of organizing. She's like, you're kind of coaching them too. There's probably some kind of overlap and collaboration you can do there. And I was like, at first I was like, whatever. And then I looked it up. And I like this program, Coach Training Alliance. I love the program. It's a year-long program.
Okay.
There's an exam afterwards, and you get this exam. But once you're
Mhm.
certified, you're certified. It's one time, and you're certified. But they really sent me this thick book. It was this thick workbook and these books, and it was teleconference every week, and I loved it. It was peer-to-peer counseling, and they said by the time you graduate from the class, you should have at least your first two clients, and I did. They were right, and it just spoke to me. It was exactly what I'm an educator by heart. I think
Mm.
it just really spoke to me. But I was able to make the marriage of the two.
Mm.
Um, and I do a lot actually in my speaking engagements, a lot of life coaching in my organization talks. So, but it's been 6 years. It's been 6 years, and I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it.
I can't tell.
I know, but are you sure you like it? You sure you like it?
What? Do you like it? I don't know. Yes. And I understand that so much. I understand it on a personal level because I felt so much the same way is that when you go into to someone's home and or business, and there's so much trust and there's so many personal things to unpack, and there's so much in the head and the heart. That's what I always talk about, where it's not about the stuff. It was never about the stuff. So
That's the thing. You hit on the nail. The thing is, I want to tell people who are not organizers, and if you're an organizer and don't realize this,
yeah.
when you come in, it's not literally about the physical stuff you're about to do. It's all about the mental stuff.
Yes.
And even when you leave, my voice has changed. It's went through puberty finally. Um,
Yay, congrats to that too.
yeah, finally, I got chest in my hair, chest in my hair. No, but I think what you do is even when you leave, it's a mental, spiritual, emotional experience. When
Yes.
you are there to show them the way.
Yes.
You're there to help inspire their lives and show them a way that will run smoother. And that can be a new shoe rack in the closet that changes everything, or even a small thing that goes in my small steps, a hook by the door that just changes their lives. So when they come home, now that jacket goes right there. It's always there.
Mhm.
Or a place for the keys. And now they always find, so now they're saving 17 minutes a day trying to find stuff. That's a change in their life. So we're doing things physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, we're changing their lives.
Amen. Yes.
Right,
And
right.
everyone listening, that feeling when you clean out a junk drawer, or you rearrange the closet, and everything's in its place, and truly decluttered, and you can find things and it's visually appealing. And did we all just breathe easier for a moment there?
Right.
It changes your outlook and your energy, and all of that feeds into your productivity.
So I'll tell you something. So to relate this to the COVID-19 shelter at home situation, when
Yes.
it first happened, everything, and I'm in LA, everything dried up. So Hollywood shut. So I have two separate worlds. Hollywood organizing. Well, Hollywood shut down, so I was not working there.
Right.
Then the organizing shut down. We're not going to people's houses. So, and I have a compromised immune system. So I was like, I can't go to anybody's houses. A lot of my clients are older. We had to shut that down. So I decided, well, I was home those first few days to look around my house to see what I had that would help me during this time period. There's like, because you couldn't, at that time, you couldn't find toilet paper or wipes, or it was crazy in the beginning.
Yeah.
Couldn't find flour or bread. Like, it was just the craziest thing.
Yeast. Still can't find yeast. Well, no, I can, but you had to look.
I got flour 2 days ago, finally. I mean, it's been seriously for months. I couldn't find flour. I got a big bag, 2 pound bag. I have flour. I'm like, oh my God, I have flour. And I found Lysol wipes the other day. She was like, Lysol wipes. Oh my God. I was like, my new world is all about finding stuff.
Right. Okay. It's the little things, right? But it's the big things.
Right. But I went around my house, all over my house, and we started gathering our emergency stuff that we had. We had some things designated in places, and some things were just, because I was looking for gloves. I found so much stuff. So now I have one spot in my house with all of the emergency products. So I have all the hand sanitizers, all the wipes, all the gloves, all the masks. I have all the toilet paper in one section, all the paper. So for me, it feels nice, like you just said, that I have a spot designated for that stuff.
Mhm.
That when I need it, I just go right over there and I can get it. And it's fine. Need some new wipes? Hold on, right that thought. I can grab the wipes. Like right now, I'm like, oh, what do you need? Oh, you need some gloves? I got some gloves right here. Oh, you need some masks? I got some masks right here. Oh, that's side mask right here. Everything is in a spot. I have a spot for it. Like literally, I have a spot for it. And so that does feel good.
It does. And here's the thing too. This is not anything that we anticipated. It's a big life transition for us. So that meant that was a trigger for us to say, okay, what do we need now? How do we need to change things up? So even the super organizer himself needed to
Yeah.
say, okay, how do I need to change this? And I think that's such an important lesson, that it's not a one and done at all.
No, and Lisa, there's a point you're bringing up. It's kind of, I want to piggyback off of.
Mm,
Office are home now. So what I'm finding, even I'm getting phone calls from my clients, they're seeing either how well their house now works for them or it doesn't. It's
yeah.
both happening right now. I have clients like, James, I'm so glad we did the kitchen. Everything runs so much smoother because now I'm cooking 3 times a day
Mm,
as opposed to not to eat. But then people tell me, I'm tired of all this, well, they say other words, in
yes.
my house. And oh my goodness, I'm closing in. I'm like, see, I've been trying to help you along with this. And that's now you're seeing because you're there but especially in the beginning, it's 24/7. We're all at home for
Yeah.
the most part, unless you're an essential worker. But I have a lot of people who weren't essential workers. They were in there their mire, they're in their muck, they're in their stuff, they're in their clutter. They're all just kind of like, it's closing in. I'm like, so now you're seeing um, that this does work when you put things in place and have systems.
Right. And you can feel the impact when you don't a lot more. If you're leaving your home, which we were doing before, it was
Yeah,
kind of easy to, forget about it for a
yeah,
bit and say it's not as bad as it is. But now that we're home so much more, and we need our spaces differently too. A lot of people are creating office space. That's something that I've been, talking to a lot of people about, a
me
lot of
too.
clients about, right? So I think this be a great segue into talking about it's not your latest book, but it's the book that I happen to catch because,
Secondly,
it's self-serving and it's a recent
yes,
one.
still promoting it, promoting it. I know
Yes, absolutely. And there's a reason for that. And I'll get into it. Sorted Out Sundays, small organizing tips that lead to large rewards, which I know that's your mission, right? And you're so on it. I love that it's simple habits, quick steps. This is a quick read, by the way. It is budget friendly. Go get it right now. You're welcome. I call it life hacks.
Yep,
Simple and inspired. And the thing is, it's the take action immediately, which goes right back to what you just said before about sometimes it's that first step. The first step's a doozy, right?
it
so,
is. It is. It is.
so I have a few favorites I'd like to share, and we can unpack that a little bit. But first, you know how you have to say honorable mention goes to. Okay, honorable mention goes to a shout out to Yo Undies.
Yes.
Because that one I just had to bring that up. That made me laugh, and I'm categorizing. That was easy for me to say. Categorizing that under self care because I think having really good quality knickers is very important to how we show up.
It is.
Right?
I really never thought about that until years later. I had friends would buy, or my mother would buy expensive bras, and man, like, why are you buying? But no, it makes you feel better, and first they last longer too, but they're
Mhm.
better quality. But you
Right.
do feel better.
Yeah, I think you show up differently, and I think that
Yes,
matters. So
I agree.
I'm gonna call it like a private uniform.
Yes, yeah, exactly right. Underneath, but it's just
Right,
like makes you feel
exactly.
better on the outside. It
But you
does.
show up differently, and that matters. Okay, so the top three that I wanted to talk about was the grab a notebook, envision the end result, and no man or woman is an island. Love all these. So let's start with grab a notebook, Mr. Multi Passionate. Yeah, and I can grab a bunch right by my desk here.
Yeah,
I can.
yeah, same here. Yeah, same here.
Yeah, exactly. I love that because it's the safe place to capture ideas. And it reminds me a lot of one of my favorite programs is David Allen's Getting Things Done. And the whole idea of a safe capture for your ideas when you know where something goes and you know where to go to get it.
I'm a big proponent of writing things down, and I get lots of ideas. And grab a notebook is, a notebook could be your phone, the notes in your phone. It could
Yes.
be it could be a little tiny journal. It could be whatever. But my whole thing is have things nearby at all times in your purse, your backpacks. I have always have something to write down, and I like to write down what I'm feeling, what I need to do, things for a list. I mean, it's just good to write stuff down while you're thinking about it. Again, we have so many things going on. The kids are yelling, and the husband's over here, and this or that, and the mother needs my help, and we have so many things going on. We just have, and the job is getting at you. Like, I don't want to forget things, and there are things that I do want to accomplish. And I feel like writing it down is one of the best things you can do because it's written down. You can actually release it. That's one less thing in your brain.
Exactly.
Release it out,
Decluttering the brain,
clutter
decluttering.
in your
Mhm,
brain. It's
mhm.
there, and then you go back to it later and organize it later. You're the editor of your own life, so you can always edit everything later and make it all pretty and stuff. But for the most part, write it down. If you're thinking about something, write it down.
Write it down right away. Ooh, you're the editor of your own life. Yeah, I like
Sure,
that. I just want to.
editor of your life.
Yeah.
It's your story. It's your story, and it's your life, and you can edit it however you want to live it. That's your privilege and an honor is you get to do that.
Yes, love that. And like you said, notes can be anything you want it to be. I have a system where my phone is always with me, so the notes start there, and then I move things to Evernote, or I'll some notebooks I have I love the pen to paper, so that's just a preference. Again, you go with what you love, and but it's that moment of inspiration, that moment of idea, and sometimes it's the forgotten to-dos are the worst because they weigh on us so much. So,
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If you write it down, You find that paper a little later, you go, oh yeah, I want to do this. And that may inspire you to do it, take care of it, or schedule it, or whatever it is.
Or
Or I need to
do
call
what? Yeah.
so-and-so. That's right, I need to call so-and-so.
Yeah.
That you have it written down. It's good
Yeah.
to have it.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that.
And I think when you get into that habit too, and this is the key, this is what I love about your book, so simple and sweet to just say, you're building a habit here. And when you have that habit, you start to trust yourself and the system to the point where you actually do reduce your stress as you're
Mhm.
doing it because you're not worried. You're like, oh, it comes to me. This is where I'm putting it. Just like everything has a home, the hook on the door by the door, or whatever. That's the same idea with the notebook. So I love that. All right. The second one, envision the end result because it drives you forward. I like the phrase start with the end in mind. Right.
Yes. And I say this in a way that not to drive you so crazy, and you may not even know fully, but seriously, try to envision what you want your space to look like.
Hmm.
And it doesn't have to be exact what it looks like, but just kind of envision the feeling you'll have. I always say part of the
Yes.
end is envisioning the feeling. How just thinking how you're gonna feel when your kitchen is all in order.
Mm.
How you're gonna feel when your filing system is in order and you're able to find a file within 2 seconds. It's more about a feeling. So if you sometimes you can capture the feeling and feel the feeling that warms you up to want to get there. That's kind of
Yes.
it's like, oh, I want to be over there. I want to be where that person. She said she's smiling. I want to be smiling too. I'm gonna do that too. And so that's part of the point is that it's not about driving yourself crazy to try to get the exact like the exact picture. But just think about it. For me, it was my like for example, I'm a big gardener. If anybody knows me, I have a huge garden. I'm posting gardening pics all the time. I had envisioned that I wanted a sanctuary. That was my feeling. I wanted a place that when I went outside, I felt safe in the big city. I have that now. It took me 8
Mm.
years. I have it. But that was the envision. That's what I envisioned. That was the end game. The end game was plants and trees. I didn't know what kind of plants were, but I had plants and trees everywhere. I had bougainvillea bushes covering everything. I wanted butterflies and bees flying around. But that was the feeling I had was like, I want to feel warm and safe and relaxed because the world is crazy out there. So when I come home, this is my safe haven. It's my space. That's why I envisioned as I was planning and plotting and planting. Ooh,
Love it.
I garden. I know. I mean, you know, poets. I can't help it. And so as I was doing that, and my mother today, ironically, I was talking to her when I sent her a picture of the backyard. She's like, "It's so nice." I go, "It's been 8 years of hard work." But now when I have a hammock that I got for my birthday, so when I go out there in the hammock with a book,
Mhm.
good with this book, let's go in the hammock and lay out there, and and I feel and with a drink, always with a drink, of course, of some sort. I feel comfortable, and I achieved. And I'm still working on the garden. I'm still working on it, but for the most part, I achieved the end game. But I started with envisioning it.
Love that. And here's the key when you envision in some way and you key in on how you're going to feel, what you're talking about, that feeling, that's what drives you. And it's also what tells you there's value in the effort of what you're going to do. That step or the steps that you're going to take in getting organized in any fashion on any level,
Mhm.
whatever space you're talking about, head space, heart space, home space, doesn't matter. It's a journey.
Yes,
but
it is.
but when you keep going back to that feeling, you're like, it shows you that it's worth it.
It's worth it, and that and that you should go for it, and that you're on the right path. And I think, and so as you get closer and closer to that, and sometimes the feeling happens before the end.
Mm.
Sometimes it starts to happen as you're moving along. You start to feel better as the progress is happening, and that's a great feeling too.
Ooh, I like that you said that because that's the kind of thing that will continue to motivate you. You'll see the progress that you're making and you'll start to feel it. You're like, "Ooh, we're getting somewhere." And
Yeah, the end is kind of a marker. It's kind of like a marker.
right.
But you can feel that way along the way. But it's like this kind of just like just remember at the end that's what you really want.
Right.
But
And the end can change too. It's just the whole idea of it's like putting we'll use every metaphor we possibly can in our
exactly,
conversation
exactly.
today, right? Put the an address in the GPS. It's okay if you change the route. It's probably you probably
Oh,
will. I'd recommend it actually. Come on.
dude, no, same
You
here. No,
know?
me too. A lot of
Yeah.
things. There's times there's a great there's sayings and things. I
Yeah.
always say when God would close doors, it just means He's narrowing your path to your greatness. It's like so
Mm,
those things. It's like, well, I wanted that job so bad. We all been there. I wanted that client so bad. I wanted that gig so bad. Well, maybe that wasn't really for you. So they're not closing them on you to make you not succeed. They're narrowing the path to your greatness. It's
narrowing the path to your greatness. I love that. That it's yeah. It maybe that wasn't for you. That's
yeah, it
yeah.
happens.
That's a life lesson I think we've all had. So now, last but certainly not least, the no man or woman is an island. And it's
Yes.
so much more than collaboration. I'm excited about collaboration. We're collaborating right now. This is
Yeah.
amazing. But I think it's beyond that. And this is extra powerful right now with everything going on in the world.
We are not alone.
We are
And a
not.
lot of us, so I'm going to speak to um, other solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, whatever preneur you want to use in your title. Because everybody uses different language.
Mm,
Um, Business owners, small business, whatever. The point is, a lot of times we feel like we're on our own
mm,
because we're not in that office setting with the water cooler, to want the soaps last night. We're not all together. A lot of times we're little satellites out there just orbiting around each other, working in the trenches to get our businesses off the ground and working. So I feel like even with that, you should align yourself with people that are either like-minded or have some kind of similarity to you in business to be there for you and ask for support and to go to, and you go to them too, people you trust. Um, I've gotten so many great ideas from other people, either by watching or even talking with them. I
mm.
have mentors. I have a coach, and I'm a coach. That kind of thing. And and I'm also um, I would say I'm semi-religious. I mean, I have a doctorate in divinity, and so I guess I'm religious on some level. But I have a pastor I talk to.
Mhm.
But he's a mentor to me also, Pastor Jesse. Let's say hi to him. And But I mean, it's like we're not alone. And organizers, I'm gonna speak to you for a second. There's no competition.
Mm-mm.
There's plenty of work out there. Coaches, there's no competition. There's
Mm-mm.
plenty of work out there. I'll say that 20 times. There's plenty of work to go around. Unfortunately and fortunately, there's plenty of work. So there's no and you may do something little better or have more specialty than I do.
Mhm.
I live in LA where it's spread out, folks. There are certain places I don't drive to because I'm not driving 45 miles to do a job. So I know somebody who lives out in that area who is good. I have no problem saying, "Girl, I have a client for you," and they take it. Do the same for me. They'll say, "James, I have somebody who lives in your neighborhood. I think you'd be great for them." If there's no competition, we're sharing each other. It's like it's all we're all part of the same village. I have a whole village mentality thing. I always say everybody's part of my village. Lisa's part of my village. Everybody's part of my village. It's all about we help each other,
Yes.
we support each other, and we feed each other.
Yeah, and there's so much to go around. I think the more that we support each other, the more that I've given, the more I've created referrals and I've freely offered, the more I get back. I keep getting more back, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm trying to help, and it's like you give a smile and you get it back.
I'm glad you said that because that's the thing. When you give out, the energy brings it back to you. Trust me. It's not just that you're giving it away and you're like,
Mm-mm.
well, I guess I help those three people. I hope it happens to me. No, chances are it will happen to you. That's the whole point. Me doing all these interviews, now I'm being interviewed. We just had to talk before the show started. And
Yeah.
now I've never thought about myself being interviewed. I never thought, I've been in business 13 years. I never thought I'd be interviewed. And now I'm getting interviewed. But they're saying to me, well, because you gave me my first interview, or James, you're doing such great work and you're doing all this stuff for it. Like, it's just kind of like, oh, they want to talk to me because I want to talk to them.
Mm.
That's back to that no man or woman is an island. It's like we're all in this swimming upstream together. So why not together?
Exactly. Together. And to know that when we help each other, we're that much stronger. And it's like, I'll have to find the phrase and share it later. But, the idea that if you want to go far, if you want to go well, do it together. I can't think of the phrase right now,
Right?
but yeah, it's this idea that, it's strength in numbers.
It
And
is.
it really, some of my best clients have come from referrals from other organizers.
Yes.
And then, yes, we all have different specialties. We do things differently. I'm pretty much 100% virtual at this point in
Oh, sure.
terms of how I organize. I do a lot more in terms of, time and schedule management, in terms of, decluttering those other sides of things. And I can definitely speak to the physical space because I've done so much of it. We all do something a little bit differently, and we say things in a way that's going to resonate differently, which is part of why I'm so excited to be talking to you, because you say certain things and I'm like, yes, that, listen to that, that's the thing. And it's we get better at what we do.
We do, and I think everybody has something to contribute. And so, I mean, I have some beautiful, beautiful organizing women that I listen to that
Mm.
just that tell me. I'll have lunch with them, or we'll get to, well, back when we could have lunch together.
Mm.
Have lunch and stuff together, and I would just shut up and listen. I just would like, you guys can't see it right now, but I was doing my hand on my chin, just like, please tell me more. And they share stories and they share their experiences, and I love hearing it because, again, it re-inspires me, or it may tell me, wow, I shouldn't go down that direction then. Okay, I kind of agree with them, so I'll go this way instead. Like it can also be a cautionary tale.
Hmm.
You know, you should have people where we are herd like animals, basically. People like to be in herds. That's what naturally what we do. We're not meant to be alone. It's not healthy on some
Right.
level, in my opinion. And so I like to have people around me. And that's inside of coaching, outside of coaching, inside organizing. I like having people around. I like collaboration, as you know very much.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that it can feed us if, especially if we're extroverts and we need to externally process, hello, hi, that would be me.
Yes. Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, right. But at the same time, if you're an introvert, this is one of my best tips is that find an extrovert and buddy up because
Yes.
they can help, help you kind of like deal with the outside world. And that's that's an energy thing right there where, you feel drained by it, but they can help you. We're a community and what you said about, they're surrounding yourself with good people. Oh, that's a life lesson for every aspect of life. It makes a
Yes.
difference. It makes a
It
huge
does.
difference.
Oh, it does. It really does. But for me, again, I like people. So it's almost like a selfish thing too. I like being around people. So
Yeah.
I will reach out to folks that I think, like people like you guys that I talk to, say, call my shows, let's do this together, let's do that.
Yeah.
I love it. It's almost a selfish thing too, because I like people.
And when you know that about yourself and you do something about it,
Mhm.
that's so key because that's how you're going to feed what it is you do. And speaking of feeding the good, gratitude, something you and I have bonded over repeatedly. It's something that I
Yes.
love about your show. Always, always the gratitude shout out. And I'm curious, do you have aside from that, a specific gratitude ritual of some kind or a practice or a way that you include it in your life?
So one of the things that I do on my super organizer show, which I've done for 5 years straight, I always
Woohoo.
begin my show with thanks and gratitude. I do that
Yes.
every single time. I just recorded my episode, which will be out. I love this recording the next day,
Okay.
tomorrow. I explained why. Somebody asked me, why do you do, like, how'd that start? So I'll just briefly say on here kind of how it started. I believe in thanks and gratitude in my life anyway. It shows up in everything that I do. I thank people all the time for stuff, regularly. I don't take for granted that I have certain blessings and certain privileges that some folks don't and didn't have.
Mm.
Um, I'm a producer also. So I'm a producer. I work in Hollywood. Shows have, I would say, gimmicks and shtick and stuff, but some shows always have like a thing they do. And I thought, when I start this show, what is one thing I want to do every single show? And that'd be kind of something that I do all the time. And Thanks and Gratitude came up. I said, well, I'm so grateful to have this. I'm on radio. When I first started, I was on radio. I was like, I want to be on radio my whole life. This voice, I want to be on radio. It's happening. I'm so thankful for that. I'm like, I can't believe it. So that's how it started. And there's every episode. I've had guests give thanks and gratitude sometimes. Like, I want to do one. Sure, let's do one. I think when you put that out there into the universe, again, it comes back 10,000 times to you. When you live in gratitude, things can run smoother in your life. I swear to God, I think they do when you give
Hmm.
thanks and gratitude to the world. I pray and meditate every morning, which I did this morning. Right now, during COVID-19 and all this stuff that's going on, I read Psalm 91 every morning.
Mm.
So, which is a really great protection psalm. And it goes back to my doctorate in divinity, of course. I grab my tea. I have tea every morning. And I go in the garden, which I just talked about my sanctuary. And for about an hour, I meditate and pray.
Mm.
I do that every day. And that's what I do every single day without fail. If it's raining outside, I do it inside, obviously. I find a spot in the house and I do it. But for most days, it's LA, I go outside. Um, and that's my way of doing that. So when I walk through my day, I always say to people I love you after I get off the phone with them. I always say that at the end of every phone call. That's my thanks and gratitude. I make sure I thank people for being on my shows. It's also like people like, what? Like that's simple stuff like that. If I get cards in the mail, I make sure I let them know thank you. I appreciate it that I got the card or I got the package. My birthday was a few weeks ago, so I got a bunch of birthday stuff. I made sure I did things. people bought me food for my, because I was at home. I couldn't go to a restaurant. So,
Mhm.
LA lockdown. So people were sending me money to buy a meal. And so I did, I'd go online and I had the meal. I go, okay, so this meal is sponsored by cousin so-and-so. And
That's
thank you so much for my birthday. Thank you, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles and cousin Steve. Whatever. And I made it fun, but I let them know that I really do, really do appreciate it. Like I really
mm,
give in gratitude that you had the money to send me money, to be kind. I didn't ask for it, to be kind to me so I can have a great dinner or a great breakfast or a great lunch for my 51st birthday. Because I was sitting at home by myself. So so I do it every day. It permeates everything and how I walk through life. Thanks and gratitude. It's not just a saying. It's not just I'm not trying to front for people. Like, I say that on TV, but not in real life. No, I literally live it. Anybody who knows me knows that I live it every day.
yeah, I can tell. And that's why I wanted to talk about this because you know how important it is to me. It was such a healer for me. It was such a healer that I created a gratitude group around it, the Positively Grateful series, which we talked about in
Every day.
your podcast, last year.
Yeah.
And with that, one of the things that we talk about, I have certain themes for each week, and one of them is gratitude and action. And that is exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about every opportunity you can, you're making it tangible by expressing the thanks or showing pictures or having a fun video. And also a wonderful takeaway is the fact that it can be creative and different. It doesn't have to be sit down and write a thank you, and no, you shoot people messages. So the wonders of modern technology means that you can do a selfie with your
Yeah.
mouth full of food
Exactly.
and just shoot it out there. And just letting people know I'm thinking of you. I appreciate you. I'm doing something that makes me think of you. I love that you did this for me. Whatever that is.
Yeah.
How good does that feel?
I think, the more, you know this already because positivity, Lisa, the more positivity you put out there, and I mean like real positive, not false positivity, but like real positivity, true positivity, it just helps the world. I mean, just
Yes.
what I do does affect you. What you do affects my mom. What my mom does affects someone's cousin. Like we may not all know each other and live with each other, but I do believe we're all connected by energy and spirituality. No matter who you are, what race, what age, whatever happens. That's what I'm saying. The things that are going on in the world is interesting because the world's going through it. It's like
Yes.
collectively, for the first time in a long time, we're all going through something at the same time. But you and I, Lisa, know we're all going through the same stuff all the time anyway. Like it's kind of like, and I don't want to get obviously not too political on it, but there's certain things that are happening. It's an America problem. So it's
Mm.
not just one side and this side, it's an America problem. So we're all connected. We live on this earth. We're all connected. So what each other person does, there is a ripple effect, whether you know it or not. And positivity, putting it out there, it's a great thing because so much negativity is being put out there. We have to counter it. It's part of
Yes.
my job, and I know yours. I'm going to always try to counter negativity.
And that is why you are here with me, because that's what we need to put out there in the world. And we need to have fun and support each other and uplift each other. And I love that that's what you're about. And that's why I wanted to share you with the world here.
Thank you. Well, it's funny. So one of my other shows that I did for 4 years, Breaking Into on Black Hollywood Live, I did it for
Mhm.
4 years. Won an award for it. It's over there somewhere on the wall
Woo!
somewhere. I was like my first media award. It was kind of crazy last year. Um, but I had a saying at every show that the purpose of my show was to share knowledge, pay it forward, and lift each other up. And I said that every single show. That was my mission. Every show, no matter who the guest was, to pay it forward, share knowledge, and lift each other up. That was my mission. I said it every show.
Well, I think you may have segued perfectly into the thing that's going to become my thing for the
Okay,
Positively
I love
Living
it. I
podcast.
love it. Okay, I love it. I'm ready.
I'm calling the rapid wrap up.
Ooh, okay. I like
Okay.
it. Okay, I like
So
it.
just fill in the blanks if you would for me, please. The song that always makes me dance.
God, that's a great question. There's several. Whenever I hear this song, yeah. Okay. The Hustle by Van McCoy. I'm aging myself. I was a disco
I
kid.
love that one.
Yes. That's all I can do. I don't want you guys get in trouble for copyrights.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Because I do not want to edit anything that you've
Yeah,
said today.
exactly.
So,
I did less than 30 seconds. I know how this works.
all right. Yeah, I know you know. So, all right. And you may have said this already, but let's try it. The quote or mantra that I share the most.
Was, of course, is small steps lead to large rewards.
There you go.
But I will. I'm gonna say another one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be different than everybody else. Also, I've been saying, out of crisis and tragedy, beauty can be born.
I love that.
Yeah, I've been saying that a lot recently.
Out of crisis and tragedy, beauty can be born. Yes.
That's fine. That's what I came up with.
Oh, yeah. I believe that. I believe it wholeheartedly. Beautiful. Okay. And the person who has taught me the most.
Ooh.
I know.
That's a good question. This is interesting. My first thing is mine. My father, James Lott Sr. We don't have a relationship. We've had a rocky relationship my whole entire life, but that's good actually, at some level. It taught me a lot about business, being a parent myself, being a man walking this earth, being a James Lott, the same name. We're at a calm point these days because I learned to forgive him for whatever went down. I've let it go. But I would say through him, I have learned a lot. I mean, actually, again, out of tragedy and crisis, beauty was where I learned a lot from him. So I would say him. He taught me a lot about life.
I knew you would have a really good, deep answer to this because what we are taught, has so many levels to it. So yeah, fantastic. Okay. And as you know, this is not a gimmick, but it is a genuine thing. So you've already given some shout outs, but here's an open moment to say, what or whom are you grateful for today, James?
I like that. Okay. I'm grateful for you today. Thank you for this experience. I'm grateful to my friend, Regina Lark, fellow organizer of 11 years also. She and I have become soul brothers, soul sisters. I really appreciate them. I appreciate Monica Fay, who's another organizer as a group, who's basically she's opening the dialogue, which I'm very proud of her for that. And my girl, Lisa Kelly Woodruff, who's also opening the dialogue. I'm speaking on her show tomorrow about racism in the community. I want to shout to anyone who is open to open dialogues. I appreciate that so much. Conversation can lead to change. And sometimes it starts with just a conversation. And for folks to say, I will sit and listen to whatever issue it is, whether it's the Me Too movement or Black Lives Matter or whatever the movement is, that you're saying, I'm going to sit and listen to you and let you be heard. That to me, that's A1 in my book. That's a start. So I appreciate and live in gratitude for anybody who is open to do that.
I love that because being heard, for someone to sit and truly listen, what a gift that is. And it's what we need right now, because you're right. That is the first step.
Yes. Gotta listen. Right? Active listening is very important. I have a course on active listening, so you need some help on that. Yeah. Active listening is a very important thing. It's the difference between passive and active listening.
Yeah. And it's what makes a good coach. It's what makes a good friend.
It does. It does.
A good human, really. So, well, don't worry, everybody. I will have all of the links I can possibly collect on everything that James is doing. If I can keep up with them, I promise I'll do my best. Books and recordings and all the shows, everything in the show notes. But I am so grateful for you. First and foremost, I want to mention that. And to thank you for shining your light in this world and for sharing it with us. Thank you, James.
My pleasure. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. An African proverb. Thank you for joining me on the Positively Living podcast. Your time is precious, and I'm honored you chose to spend it with me. If you'd like more information on today's show, you can find a link to the show notes on positivelyproductive.com/podcast. If you found value in this show, please click subscribe, and even better, give a quick review on iTunes. It supports me and will help others find the show. If you'd like more positive content, come join me on social media. Positively Productive on Facebook and positively_Lisa on Instagram. Get ready for kids, cats, and all my quirky humor over there. I look forward to having you join me next episode. Until then, keep it positive and keep making space for what matters most.